G'day everyone. Welcome to another day and another episode of the Charlie Kirk Bible Read and Bob Rant. We are up to 5th of January. Year's flying. Well, get rid of my front screen. Before we get into our little Bible read and rant, we'll do what we always do. Say g'day first from my boy. Today he's decided he's going to be at my feet. Yep, no, he's staying at my feet. I'll get rid of this mirror image. Am I? Sorry, guys, just give me a tick. I don't have any of that. I'm just in mirror. Every time I load up, it just for some reason puts me in a mirror image, which is what I don't want. And here we go, get rid of that there. To share the camera, yep. And we're all good to go. There's no save on these things. You know, like when you get to, there we go, different. That's my true self. That's the way I should be. So hopefully everyone's doing well today. This 5th day of 2026. You've seen my sidekick, JJ. Got the cricket on the background. Travis' head's going gangbusters again. So, trying to keep an eye on that. Oh, Marnus is actually playing a few shots. That'll be a change. So let's give you a look at our Melbourne weather. That is the bay. Again, very breezy again today. It's been breezy the last couple of days. Sea's a bit choppy, but it's a bit nice day. Not too hot, not too cold. It was pretty warm this morning. Apparently it's going to be 38 on Wednesday. So we're in for our first, what I would say, scorcher. Most of the weather media girls think anything over 30 degrees is a scorcher. I had one on Channel 7 just a week or two ago and said, no, it's 33. It's going to be a heat wave. And as they go on with all their climate change bullshit. But no, legitimately on sorry, guys, I'm just trying from power. When you see me doing this, I'm just trying to get my power cord in. I don't trust my battery to last. I trialed it on one of these a while ago, and the battery fell down. Oh, we got an appeal. Then someone's going up, Labish. Sorry, guys. I'm watching. I'm trying to do multitasking. Watching the cricket, doing the Bible read, and I'll do the rant. And they're going upstairs. So if you're not watching the cricket, I can help you out. So they've just had an appeal on Labish. I don't know. I think it's for LBW. Yeah, okay. Well, let's have a look. Let's see if they get him out.
I have checked both feet. Delivery. Front on, please.
There it is. Cricket in the background. Oh,
once more, can you
bit high.
Yeah.
Don't know whether you can see that.
All please.
DRS.
Yeah. Gap between the bat.
He hasn't hit it, so they're going for LB.
Ready. On field,
Oh!
Not out. Wickets missing.
Oh, that was pretty close.
You can stay with your on field ball. Not out. Hassan.
There's not much in it, the old cricket, is there? You're always millimetres sometimes away from being successful and unsuccessful. So, anyway, time for the Bible read. January 5th. Oh, my God, I'm dropping everything today. Sorry, guys. Now that we've had a bit of cricket, we'll get stuck in. Keep them safe. John 17, 11 through 19. Security in God, joy, protection from the evil one, and dedication are the themes of this part of Jesus' prayer for his followers. And now I am coming to you. I am no longer in the world, but they are in the world. Holy Father, keep them safe by the power of your name, the name you gave me, so that they may be one just as you and I are one. While I was with them, I kept them safe by the power of your name, the name you gave me. I protected them, and not one of them was lost, except the man who was bound to be lost, so that the scripture might come true. And now I am coming to you, and I say these things in the world so that they might have my joy in their hearts in all its fullness. I gave them your message, and the world hated them, because they do not belong to the world, just as I do not belong to the world. I do not ask you to take them out of the world, but I do ask you to keep them safe from the evil one. Just as I do not belong to the world, they do not belong to the world. Dedicate them to yourself by means of the truth. Your word is truth. I sent them into the world just as you sent me into the world, and for their sake I dedicate myself to you in order that they too may be truly dedicated to you. Pretty interesting. A lot of debate about, whether there's really a devil or not, but quite clearly, especially those who treat the Bible black and white, what does he say? Sorry, I'll try and read right through it. Then I refer back and I've got to... Yeah, there he goes. I do not ask you to take them out of the world, but I do ask you to keep them safe from the evil one. So the evil one can only be the devil, so Satan, whatever. So you find plenty of references in the Bible towards him. So if we believe in Christ, you sort of got to believe in the devil, don't you? Anyway, there are people out there that will swear that the devil's not true. So, rant time. Oh, he's up on the couch. Rant time. I've got a couple of interesting rants to go on. I'm really getting over. And, a few days ago, it was Usman with his presser. But now it's come to, on the cricket, Bharat, the Indian commentator who's become an Australian citizen, or he's immigrated here, I should say. Don't know whether he's an Australian citizen yet here. But he's taken up the fight for Usman Khawaja. And he was on Channel 7 today. And he basically is lecturing everybody who took offence to the way Usman handled his retirement presser, which was pretty much everyone. Probably 2/3 of the country, I would say, would have been pretty pissed off with the way Usman bagged Australia with the opportunities he's been given. And no one denies him those opportunities. Good on him. If you can be a good batsman and make some money out of it and playing the high-level sports, and you're good enough to put the time in, I don't begrudge you that. There might be others that do, but the vast bulk of Australians will get behind you. Just don't come out then once you've made millions and done all the, got all the opportunities you've got and all the opportunities that will come. The fact that you got properties when people can't even afford their rent, you probably got a lovely car and you can pay all your bills and have money in the bank and do overseas tours, and you got a lovely family. You should be grateful to the country. That's all we ask. Show some gratitude, but we never get it. And it's not just Usman and it's not just Bharat, but it's people like them. So what pissed me off today about Bharat, and anyone who's followed me for any length of time knows that I'm not your NSN type, I'm not your Nazi type, I'm not your full deportation type, and I spend an awful lot of times with what they call minorities. Now, I'm not too sure what that word means anymore. What in hell's name is a minority? White men. I think we're a minority now. So, the DEI has always worked against us. Everything works against us. So does that make us a minority? Not sure. Maybe not. Maybe not in numbers, but certainly in the way we're treated. So Bharat gets on Channel 7 and he's got Mel McLaughlin, cricket's worst commentator, and then he's got that moron Peter Lalor. Now, if there's anybody in commentary and sports commentary that I can't stand, it's people who've never really played the game before but think they know everything about the game. Peter Lalor, whatever his name is a classic one. And him and Bharat share certain things, which really annoys me. So all the past champions who get on there, Ricky Ponting, Greg Blewett, all these guys, they always get dressed up in a suit and tie. They look professional, they look smart, and they look the way they should present themselves. For some reason, Channel 7 give a leave pass for Peter Lalor to dress like a bum. He's usually in jeans and no tie and a shirt and all that, and he looks like a bum. Looks like someone who's just come out of the pub and he's given his opinion. Now, for a professional news organisation, a professional sports cover, for professional entertainment, you would expect more than that. But Bharat, the Indian guy, if you've watched any of the cricket, takes it to a whole new level. He walks in and it's looked like he's on holidays in Hawaii. You know, he's got this flowery coloured shirt and T-shirt underneath, and he's always in the shorts, and he's got the long hair. You know, if you or I, as a white man, any of the white men watching this, or even women, if we presented ourselves like that, we would probably lose our job. But no, he gets on there. So he's got these two leftists, and that's what they are. And even if they're not leftists, they've got their head so far up the arse of professional sportsmen, they're never going to call them out. They're never going to put at risk their ability to be able to talk to these professional sportsmen for their interviews, for their sports coverage, whatever. They're just never going to do it, all right? So they're never going to call out a sportsman like Usman or any of them for poor behaviour, unless it's probably a white guy. No. They probably wouldn't hesitate then. Like, if you think back to Steve Smith and Dave Warner, who copped quite rightly a fair bit of flack for the sandpaper gate. Sandpaper gate. But I wonder, if that had have been Usman, who was captain, that initiated that, would have he got a leave pass because he's brown and he's a Muslim? I'd say he would. Anyway, so Bharat gets on there today. And I've actually directly messaged Bharat via Twitter, and I've said, come on my podcast. Let's have a talk between an Indian immigrant and an Aussie boomer. Let's see if we can get, well, maybe not some common ground, but let's see if we can make you understand a few things. And I will send him another invite. I'll do it later today if I get a chance, or sometime tomorrow, because he just got under my skin. If you come across as an immigrant, and I've got no problem with that, but you need to accept our country, its way of life, its culture, and how we go about it. All right? Bharat comes on there and goes, well, he came in to defend Usman because he understood Usman's thing and basically was going on about how people look at them differently. And then he goes on, which I've followed this tweet he talks about that he got on X with, and said how he got all these death threats. Now, I had a good read for that. Now, there's a lot of tweets, granted, near 500. But I haven't found a death threat. I've found a lot of people calling him out. You know, he might have got called a dickhead. Big deal. I mean, I get called a dickhead 100 times a day, and probably many times rightly so. But Bharat's going on, I just want to make people feel I've got more death threats in a day than I've had in my whole life. I call bullshit on that. I'd like to see him produce evidence of that. Not hard. Pull out the tweets. Show us them. You know, or that's all we ask. No problem. Let's have a look at him. Let's have a look at him, Bharat. But, you know, he's coming out and he's trying to lecture us on how we need to be showing them more empathy, more understanding of what they're going through, all that. This is coming from a guy who's a paid sports reporter, who's immigrated from India to Australia and gets to mingle in with some of the largest sports names and celebrities in the country. He would be on good money. You don't get those gigs without good money. He gets to walk around with the Australian cricket team, the English cricket team, the commentary, talk to some of the greatest names in the sport. And he wants us to understand how badly he's got it. I mean, do they even think about who they're talking to on the other end of that camera? How many of us out there can't even afford to go to the cricket, let alone to hang out with the Australian national team or the English national team, or speak directly to some of the best cricketers on the planet? I mean, and we would dream of the money that he gets. But we're supposed to have an understanding of his. I mean, he gets called names. God, I get called names every day. I mean, I don't whine about it. So, Bharat, this is just for you, mate. Number one, if you're going to come over to Australia, understand our etiquettes, our culture, our way of life. Here's a few hints. Number one, it's not about skin colour. And I'll give you an example of that. A week or so ago, we had an Aussie guy, a white Aussie male, born and raised, can't even remember, he's Ben Parsons, who dobbed in one of his fellow Aussies because of a tattoo that led to the police knocking on his door and him getting arrested. See, Australians can't stand that shit. We can't stand snitches. And Ben Parsons, quite rightly, got piled on X, like really piled on. He actually did get threatened. I saw the responses to him on X. He got massively threatened. And in my book, rightly so. You just don't snitch on your fellow Aussie. That's just one of the parts of Australian culture. We were raised not to dob on each other. And Bharat, he copped it. He copped threats. He copped that. And he's a white Aussie guy. Wasn't because he was Indian. Wasn't because he was Muslim. Wasn't because he's brown. You just don't snitch on your mates. That's just an Aussie thing. Don't know what you did over in India. You're only 31. You've only recently got here. I get it. You don't understand Aussie culture. But don't lecture us on Aussie culture. Learn our culture. Here's another thing that Aussies can't stand. We can't stand whiny little bastards like you and Usman who get all the privileges in the world and then find a reason to degrade and demean our society. Now, you say you love Australia, but you bitch about it, and you've barely been here 2 minutes. You know, maybe get a haircut, maybe get a new wardrobe, maybe come across and maybe just be a little bit more careful with your P's and Q's. That's another thing. Don't speak out of turn. That's another Aussie thing. Mind your P's and Q's unless you really know what you're talking about, because Aussies resent that. We don't want to get told whether you're a Pom, you're a Yank, whether you're Indian. Don't really care. We're Aussies. We have our way of life. We don't try and say we need to understand your way of life. You've immigrated here. This is a better country than your shithole back in India. I'm sorry. And I'm not a racist person, but India's a shithole. Everyone knows it. And if it's not a shithole, what are you doing here? And that's all right. There's a lot of third world shitholes out there. And I've got no problem with people trying to come here and have a better life and get out of those shitholes and make a better life for them and their families. But you've got to accept our culture. That's all. So, you know, it's just really annoying that, and then you get the nodding heads. You know, you got Mel McLaughlin, Peter Layla, and they're just nodding their head. Yeah, no, Usman's great. Usman's this. Usman didn't do that. Blah blah blah. We've all got to accept it. No, we don't. And here's another last little bit of a tip for you, Bharat. I know you work in the media. I get it. But you know something Australians really hate is being lectured to by celebrities or people from the media. We just don't trust those bastards. They sit alongside politicians, insurance salesmen. In fact, I'd say an insurance salesman and a car salesman has got far more ethics and integrity than most media. You know, we don't like people who lie to us, and the media continuously lied to us. You lied to us when you said, he did. Usman the other day didn't call out any of Australia for racing. Bullshit, he didn't. Yes, he did. So we're not stupid, Bharat. So, you know, mate, if you want to make a life here in Australia, I suggest you listen to those points carefully. There's lots of other etiquettes, but you've got a lot of time to learn. If you think we're a racist country, you're just hanging around in the wrong circles. You're probably hanging around too much with your media buddies who love to label us racist and bigots and Nazis when we're not. You know, and look what Uzi did the other day, labelled everyone who disagreed with him far right. You know, I'm not a far right person. I am with the centre right. But today I had 5 kids that I was coaching. All 5 kids are Asian kids. But I disagree with you and Usman. Those kids don't whine. Those kids come to my training. They love it. And I love coaching them. To me, they're Aussie kids. They've got all the same things, and some of them are traveling 20, 30 minutes to get to my coaching because I know my stuff. So they will come a long distance to get some proper coaching for their kids. And the parents are appreciative. The kids are good. You know, they're all families with homes, and they're all grateful for what Australia's provided. That's all we want to see. You know, I'm not a racist person. I've coached Muslim kids, Christian kids, Jewish kids, black kids, white kids, Asian kids, African kids, Aussie kids. You know, I said this the other day. The only kid I probably haven't coached is Indigenous, and the one I did coach Indigenous, he claimed to be Indigenous, but God sakes, he was 98% DNA Italian. But you know, God bless him, he wanted to be called Indigenous. Nice kid, and I was pretty actually excited by that to be able to coach my first Indigenous kid. I've always been interested in getting that opportunity. But being in Melbourne, you just don't get much, despite the fact that we've got 2 chambers of our parliament now, which has got the Indigenous chamber and then the rest of us chamber. So what do you want, Bharat? Do you want a Indian Pakistani chamber, brown people's chamber, Muslim chamber? Is that what you want, the massive diversity? I was listening to a guy on the radio today, segue into my second rant. and they were talking about Trump and Venezuela and typical white liberal guy. This ties in with what Barat said. Typical white liberal university educated dickhead. You know, just because you got a certificate or a bit of paper on your wall that says you got educated in university, personally, I wouldn't flash that too much. To me, that screams, I'm still looking to my right, my left. Sorry, guys, just lately I've known whenever I talk, like even now, I'm looking to my left. If I look, I'm just trying to get my eyes straight. I'm going to have to practice with this a bit. I just can't find the port on my laptop. I need to look straight. Anyway, I'll keep going as I am. It's kind of off-putting when I'm doing this because I got my video. Anyway, sorry, guys. So there was this Pommy guy, and he was doing a talkback radio show on people's opinions about Trump going into Venezuela and arresting Maduro. And an African guy got on there, like a number of us, like me, have done. And people all over the globe are saying, you know, come and take our leader because he's a dickhead. So the Poms want Starmer taken. We want Elbow taken. There's been a bunch of them talking about, you know, taking their leaders, and Trump can please do the same thing. Come on, get over here. Yep, get over here. And look, it's done tongue-in-cheek. It's a bit of fun, but I'm pretty confident we wouldn't mind. But an African guy got on to his Q&A. An African guy. Not a Pom, not a white guy, a black guy. And he goes, you know, I support Trump. And basically said there's a lot of African countries here that need that to happen to their countries because their leaders are corrupt and they're despots and dictators. I support Trump. I would love Trump to come to Africa and kidnap a few of our leaders and put in a new transitional government. And that just sent off this white guy. You know, he started bringing up Japan, which is kind of bizarre. And there was an African country that later on, he was saying that America colonized when later on, not Libya, Liberia or something like that. He said America colonized, which we looked up and they never did. So anyway, he was banging on about this. So a white guy was lecturing an African guy, the African guy with the lived experience. And the guy from Africa was saying, we were better under the colonial rule. You know, the evil colonialist. He was saying we were better under the colonial rules when the English was running things. And he goes, and ever since the English gave away their Commonwealth and handed it back, how bad things have got. This was a black African guy. What did the white liberal do? He wouldn't listen to him, cut him off, and then he disconnected him from the call. Unbelievable. In fact, let me give you a listen to it. All right, so I forgot I can share my screens on this now. And this is the ridiculous left. You know, like even in with the Venezuelan situation. I hope I've still got it. Sorry, guys, just bear with me. Oh, what's Sam got to say? Where is it? See if I can find it. Oh, listen. Well, man, listen to this. This is New York City's Mayor Mandami's tenant director. So she's part of the New York government, you know, like Melbourne City Council. Listen to what she's got to say about property rights.
I think the reality is that for centuries we've really treated property as an individualized good and not a collective good. And we are going to transitioning to treating it as a collective good and towards a model of shared equity will require that we think about it differently. And it will mean that families, especially white families, but some POC families who are homeowners as well, are going to have a different relationship to property than the one that we currently have. I think that.
So all that, let me just translate for you. That's a communist bitch who's telling white families, you're probably going to have to come to terms with having property taken off you by the government. That's what they've voted in New York. Communist. That's what they've voted in. Bizarre. Save some of these. I'm just trying to find this one. Maybe I won't find it. I'm sure I did it. It's crazy. Watch this one.
Please. Yes, please.
Heck, I love those baby AI clips like that. They're so good. Let's see if I can find it. There's a couple more, but I'll share them tomorrow night on. Oh, maybe I don't have it. Maybe it'd be under a quote. Got a few good ones from today. There's sorry guys, I just want to see if I can find this for you because it just encapsulate all this colonialist bullshit. And it just ridiculous parts on how it's gone. It might be under replies. If I can't find it today, I'll share it definitely in my episodes coming up tomorrow. But it's like, all these people here, they are protesting. These are the same ones who protested, for example, the No Kings protest in America. And now they're protesting, which was basically against dictators. But now they're supporting a dictator in this idiot from Venezuela. I mean, it's nuts. The whole thing is nuts. Maybe I don't have it. I've got to find it if I don't. Tell you what, I'll try one more in my bookmarks because it just gives you the mindset of some of these ridiculous colonists. The other interesting thing, everyone's comparing this thing. There he is. That's the three I was ranting about before. All these clips of these women, these are all Venezuelan women and telling all these protesters to pull their heads in because they don't know what it's like to have lived in Venezuela. This is why there's another one. It's going to be different to Gaza. I don't have it. Oh, that's so annoying. I'll give it one more try. And then I'll give up. Don't tell me I don't have it. I know I replied, I'm pretty sure. I'll have to find it. I'll definitely play it in my podcast tomorrow. Sorry, guys. Because it is worth listening to just how these liberals that we've got, or these moderates, these university indoctrinated fools who keep banging on about colonialism, and when they're confronted with the real world experience of an African person that wants to stand up for colonialism, they just cut him off. Can't have that. Can't have an African coming out and saying, hey, colonialism wasn't bad. It actually made our country better. I've got 2 clips on it. I've just got to find them before. I was hoping I could find it then. Before he could do too much damage, the host cut him off. It's just bizarre. Colonialism, when they try and tar us all with this colonialist brush, which is going back to Usman and Barat, if we were true colonialists, we wouldn't allow immigration. We'd colonize Australia for English-speaking immigration. People with the heritage that goes back to especially Anglo-English, all right, but including Anglos from other parts of Europe and predominantly white Europeans. That's what we used to have. It was called the White Australia policy. I personally don't believe in the White Australia policy. I think immigration has been good for the country overall. But because of their decisions in the past 2 decades, it's tainting what was once a good thing for this country. And it's on a tipping point where it could be a bad thing for this country. And if it gets to that tipping point, the country's in a lot of trouble. People aren't going to cop it anymore. So, I work, like I said, I work with a lot of what they call minorities. I just see them as people. But, Barat and Usman can't see white people as people. That's your problem. And they're making a real rod for the back for the minority communities. But I have no idea what background Barat is, what faith he is, whatever. I'm assuming coming from India. The Muslims in India are a minority, but that's still a minority out of 1.5 billion, 2 billion people is still a pretty significant number. But I'm not too sure what he is, and I don't really bloody care. I don't care that he's Indian. I don't care he's got black or brown coloured skin. I don't care whether he's a Muslim. I do care whether he can be grateful for the opportunities this country presents. And I do care whether he can adopt and assimilate into an Australian culture. That's all it is. All right, last one to finish off with today, Marco Rubio. I don't know how many of you take an interest in American politics. A lot of people are talking about J.D. Vance to be about the next president. I don't think it should be J.D. Vance. I think he needs to keep getting a bit more experience. He's still only young. I think it should be Marco Rubio. And again, on the podcast, I will highlight about 4 examples of where he just doesn't beat the press. He smashes the press. They simply cannot handle him. He is such a switched-on dude. He is so impressive. So for me, in 2028, following Trump's successor, at the moment, that should be Marco Rubio in a heartbeat. And he will smash it out of the park. He would be the next president. I think there's a few things in the closet of J.D. Vance, in particular the woke right, that would actually really be an issue for him. But I think Marco Rubio could be he would be popular number 1 outside Trump in Venezuela and all the Latin communities, which are a huge part of the American landscape. So I think Marco Rubio has got so much potential. So we'll see where all that heads. Not an Australian issue, but I'm not Australia only. I'm a conservative as Australian first. I do believe in that. But I don't mind having my 2 bobs worth, pardon the pun, in other nations and world politics as well. So anyway, one last thing. The UN should be abolished. It's a total waste of time. Total waste of time. I'll talk about that more in my podcast again tomorrow night. Remember, 8 o'clock Tuesday nights. I'll be back on tomorrow. God bless your kids. God bless your grandkids. God bless your pets. God bless you. God bless that flag. God bless my dog. Look at him. Oh, my God. You reckon he hasn't been sport rotten? And we are 138. Head is on 72. Labuschagne, 41. When is Kawaja coming in? I'm going to be interested in his reception. And they're off running again. All right. God bless you, everyone. I've had a bit of another round. I've been all over the shop a bit today. But I'll see you tomorrow, and I've got the podcast tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Tuesdays. All right. We'll talk then. Bye.